Most people think having a very high IQ is basically a life advantage. You understand things faster, you solve problems quicker, you see patterns other people completely miss. On paper, it sounds like a superpower. But here's the strange part no one really talks about. Some of the most intelligent people quietly struggle with things that seem simple for everyone else, like turning their brain off, feeling satisfied with success, or even connecting with people. In fact, the same mind that helps someone understand the world more deeply can also make life feel more complicated, more isolating, and sometimes even more exhausting. So the real question is, what if having an extremely high IQ comes with a hidden psychological cost that nobody prepared you for? Let's talk about the dark side of extremely high intelligence. For most of our lives, we're taught a very simple story about intelligence. If you're really smart, life should be easier. You'll do well in school, you'll build a successful career, you'll solve problems faster than everyone else. Movies reinforce this idea too. The genius is always the one with the answers, the one who eventually wins. But real life doesn't always work like that. Because intelligence doesn't just change what you can understand, it also changes how you experience the world. When your brain constantly sees deeper patterns, hidden motives, and multiple possibilities, everyday life can start to feel very different from how most people experience it. Things that seem simple to others can suddenly feel complicated. Conversations, relationships, decisions, even your own thoughts can turn into something your mind analyzes from every possible angle. And that's where the first hidden cost of extremely high intelligence begins. Because for many highly intelligent people, the biggest challenge isn't thinking too little. It's that their brain never really stops thinking at all. For many highly intelligent people, the mind rarely goes quiet. It's not just thinking when you need to solve a problem, it's thinking all the time. Your brain keeps running in the background, like a computer that never fully shuts down. You replay conversations in your head long after they've ended. You analyze why someone said something a certain way. You imagine different outcomes of decisions you haven't even made yet. A simple situation that might pass quickly for someone else can turn into a full mental simulation. What did they really mean by that? Was there a better response I could have given? What will happen if this leads to that? Your mind keeps connecting dots, building patterns, predicting possibilities. And while that ability can be incredibly powerful for problem solving, it also has a hidden cost. Because when your brain never truly powers down, it can slowly create mental exhaustion. Overthinking turns small decisions into heavy ones. Uncertainty becomes harder to tolerate. Even relaxing can feel strangely difficult. While other people can simply let things go, your mind keeps digging deeper. But over time, another realization begins to appear. It's not just that your brain works constantly. It's that sometimes it feels like your mind is operating on a completely different rhythm from the people around you. And that's where the next hidden struggle begins. At first, it's subtle. You're in a conversation with friends, coworkers, or people you just met. Everyone is talking, laughing, sharing stories. But inside, something feels slightly off. Your mind is moving faster than the conversation itself. While someone is explaining an idea, you've already jumped 3 steps ahead. While the group is discussing one point, your brain has already explored 5 different angles of it. So you wait. You slow yourself down. You try to stay in the rhythm of the conversation. But after a while, something strange happens. The discussion starts to feel predictable. Small talk feels repetitive. Topics that excite other people can start to feel strangely shallow. And it's not because you think you're better than anyone, it's simply that your brain is craving a different level of stimulation. Over time, this mismatch can quietly create distance. You might talk less in group settings. You might keep your deeper thoughts to yourself. You might even feel like people don't really understand how your mind works. And little by little, a quiet feeling begins to grow. Not arrogance, not superiority, just the sense that you're somehow out of sync with the room. But that feeling can evolve into something much heavier, because when you constantly experience the world from a slightly different perspective, it can slowly turn into a deeper kind of loneliness. At some point, many highly intelligent people begin to notice something unsettling. They don't just see what's happening on the surface, they see the layers underneath. In conversations, they notice contradictions. In social situations, they pick up on subtle signals others overlook. In society, they start seeing patterns that don't quite make sense. Hypocrisy, hidden motives, unspoken rules that everyone seems to follow without questioning. And once your mind starts seeing those layers, it becomes very hard to unsee them. A simple interaction can suddenly feel complicated. A casual conversation can reveal tensions that nobody else seems to notice. Sometimes you even catch yourself wondering, does anyone else see this, or is it just me? Over time, that awareness can slowly create emotional distance, not because you want to disconnect from people, but because constantly noticing the deeper mechanics of everything can make the world feel strangely artificial. The jokes feel rehearsed, the social roles feel predictable, the patterns repeat themselves again and again. And when you see too much of the structure behind things, it can become harder to simply enjoy them the way other people do. But perhaps the most surprising effect of all isn't loneliness. It's what this level of awareness does to your sense of satisfaction with life. Because the same mind that can imagine incredible possibilities can also make reality feel like it's never quite enough. There is a strange paradox that often comes with a very sharp mind. The more possibilities your brain can imagine, the harder it can become to feel satisfied with reality. Highly intelligent people are often very good at seeing how things could be better. A project could be improved, a decision could have been optimized, a plan could have been executed differently. So even when something goes well, the mind immediately starts scanning for flaws. Not out of negativity, but because that's simply what the brain is trained to do. It analyzes, it compares outcomes, it imagines alternative versions of what just happened. And slowly, this creates a subtle psychological trap. Instead of feeling proud of what you've accomplished, your mind keeps drifting toward what wasn't perfect. Success starts to feel incomplete, achievements feel temporary, and satisfaction becomes surprisingly difficult to hold on to. This is why many highly intelligent people quietly struggle with things like perfectionism, chronic self-criticism, and even imposter syndrome. No matter how much they accomplish, a part of their mind keeps whispering, "It could have been better." But perhaps the most complicated place this mental pattern shows up isn't in work or achievements, it's in relationships. Because when a mind that analyzes everything tries to understand something as unpredictable as human emotion, things can get complicated very quickly. When it comes to relationships, most people rely heavily on instinct and emotion. They feel something and they respond. But for someone with a highly analytical mind, the process often looks very different. Instead of just experiencing the moment, the brain begins to examine it. A partner says something slightly unusual, and your mind starts running possibilities. Did they mean that literally? Was there a hidden message behind that? Did their tone change? Small emotional moments can suddenly become complex puzzles. Even your own feelings can get analyzed. Am I actually upset, or am I overreacting? Is this relationship healthy, or am I just attached to the idea of it? At first, this level of awareness can seem like an advantage. You're reflective, you're thoughtful, you're trying to understand people deeply. But over time, constant analysis can slowly pull you out of the emotional flow of the relationship. Instead of simply feeling connection, you start observing it. Instead of being fully present, part of your mind is always evaluating. And that distance can make relationships feel strangely fragile, because human emotions aren't logical systems. They're messy, they're unpredictable, and they rarely follow the clean patterns that analytical minds prefer. Ironically, the same brain that can understand incredibly complex ideas can sometimes struggle with the chaos of human emotion. But here's the important part. These struggles don't mean something is wrong with highly intelligent people. In fact, the very traits that create these challenges are also connected to some incredibly powerful strengths. But here's the part that often gets forgotten. The same traits that create these struggles are also the ones that make highly intelligent minds so powerful. That constant thinking, it's the engine behind deep insight and creativity. Seeing patterns others miss, that's how breakthroughs happen. Questioning everything, that's how new ideas challenge old systems. Many of the people who change the way we understand the world share these exact traits. They think differently. They question more. They refuse to accept simple answers. But that kind of mind doesn't always fit neatly into everyday life. It's like having a tool designed to explore the deepest parts of reality and then trying to use it in situations built for something much simpler. So the real challenge isn't having a powerful mind. The real challenge is learning how to live with it. Learning when to slow the thinking down. Learning when to stop analyzing and just experience the moment. And once people begin to understand this about themselves, something interesting starts to happen. Many of the things they once saw as personal flaws start to look very different. For a long time, many highly intelligent people quietly carry the same question in the back of their mind. Why does life feel harder than it should? Why do simple conversations sometimes feel exhausting? Why does success never feel quite satisfying enough? Why does it sometimes feel like your mind is always a few steps removed from the world around you? So they assume something must be wrong with them. Maybe they think too much. Maybe they're too sensitive. Maybe they're just not wired the way everyone else seems to be. But sometimes the explanation is much simpler. The same mind that allows someone to see deeper patterns, question assumptions, and imagine complex possibilities also means they experience the world differently. They notice more. They analyze more. They feel the weight of possibilities more. And that can make life both fascinating and complicated. Intelligence can illuminate parts of reality that most people never stop to examine. But the price of seeing more is that you also become aware of things others might never even notice. And once you understand that, one important shift begins to happen. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and you start asking a much more powerful question. How do I learn to live well with the kind of mind I have? Because when that question becomes the focus, what once felt like a burden can slowly become one of your greatest strengths. And if this topic resonated with you, you might also find the next one interesting: the psychology of people who notice what everyone else misses.